Come on in, pull up a chair, have a seat at the table. We're going to talk about your mental menu. This is how to decide what you're digesting daily for better brain function, focus, and freedom. And I'm not just talking about food here, you guys. This is the mental menu cheat sheet. You may have already seen it, might be your first time, but it goes over the common struggles that we usually have as creative professionals, entrepreneurs, very busy people, and also some steps you can take to really make some changes in what you're digesting daily so you can nourish your brain, so you can overcome anxiety, so your body feels good, so you can be the healthiest version of you when you show up for your projects and make the impact in the world that you want to have. Best news is no fad diets, no giving up carbs forever, and you don't have to throw your phone out the window. And as you probably already know, the mental menu is just one small step in a holistic plan called the Stress Free Brain and Body Blueprint. It's the clearest, most predictable system I've ever seen because I put it together myself. It can be done in 90 days or in 6 months. I work with my clients one on one to find out what pace is appropriate for them. But it goes over everything. It goes over managing your emotions, over what are you digesting. We'll go over that in this step. How is your brain? Is it a mindful, like peaceful place to be? How's your sleep coming along? Do you know which exercises you should do to boost your brain function? And how are you going to get that exercise prescription in daily? And then we also talk about time and task completion. We talk about your clarity compass. What's driving you forward? What's your mission in your life? And also with your co-pilots, who's on the journey with you? That's going to 10x your follow through, and you'll probably get there in one piece. So it's a holistic plan. If this is only the one step you're looking at, make sure you take a look at these other areas in your life because it matters. Physically, mentally, emotionally, it matters. So, who am I and what's my story? I'm Dana. I founded Whole Approach Wellness and created the Stress Free Brain and Body Blueprint, mostly out of a need for myself, but also for clients as well. And I have over 15 years in the health and wellness space, from fitness and nutrition to brain and mental health coaching and education to leadership and life coaching. I believe in wellness is a whole person deal, our internal and our external environments, hence Whole Approach Wellness. And it's a really personal journey for me for the Stress Free Brain and Body Blueprint, as well as just having a whole approach. I got really tired of having this challenge, going to see this practitioner, then putting me on a program, and then going to another person and them getting me a program. But none of my practitioners were talking to each other. So I didn't get to actually make any forward momentum. It was really frustrating. So it wasn't until I created a complete holistic plan for myself that covers every step of what I needed in my life so I could optimize my brain and my body and steward my blessings accordingly that I actually started making progress. And the results were mind blowing. Pun totally intended. Also, if you're not a cheesy joke kind of person, I might not be your gal, and that's totally okay. So here's my story. Where I was, I went from thinking that I would be dependent on medication daily for the rest of my life, that I was using social media to numb and to compare, beat myself up. I was using alcohol to numb, relationships, food, a lot of things. I was just feeling just kind of broken. And because I was so broken, I felt unworthy of success, unworthy of love, unworthy of the career, you name it. I was always comparing myself to others, whether that was in person or on social media. And I would start a routine because I was really excited, and then I'd fall off repeatedly. It was so frustrating, and I was mismanaging my time. I was double booking things and forgetting things, and having to cancel things because of anxiety and depression and addiction and all kinds of things. And I was having irrational emotions, just these high highs and low lows that were really challenging to manage. And everyone else seemed to have it together. And I know that's not the case now. It's absolutely a lie, but I had to learn that for myself. And I knew I had potential. I knew that I was capable of doing good things, but I never trusted myself. I had lost the battle with myself so many times. I forgot I was a warrior, and I didn't think that I could succeed at a high level. And so I had a slight confidence because I knew I could pick things up, if I worked at it, if I really practiced. But I still had a low self-image, and I kept hitting that ceiling and not being able to push forward through that. And it was just kind of dark. And I started feeling really dark. I started feeling really hopeless. I started being apathetic, and I'd put on a face for my clients and for the outside world. But on the inside, I was just agony and imposter syndrome and perfectionism and all of this comparison and this always sense of urgency that I wasn't where I wanted to be. And so I completely rearranged everything and I put myself on these programs. I took everything that I could from every room or church or program or person that I had learned from and combined it all. I completely healed my gut. You know, my brain is healthier than it's ever been. I increased my brain function so I can do a lot more things that I didn't have the capacity to do previously. I've become more emotionally resilient. And I write workout programs that I actually love. I enjoy them. I don't stick to them perfectly. I'm still a human and I'm learning how to have grace with myself, which is awesome. And I successfully and very, very carefully came off daily medications. And that's my journey. It doesn't have to be your journey. Totally fine. Either way, this is up to you. I had to give up alcohol altogether. So I live a very sober life. It is an absolute necessity and a value of mine. And I value that healthy lifestyle. Not everybody has that journey, but I do. And I am growing two businesses, which is awesome. And my hobbies are taking off to boot. I started creating again, and where that life was kind of sucked out of me for a little while. And now I'm creating. I wrote a whole album in like 2 months. It was wild. And I'm so grateful. And it's really vulnerable to share who and where I was because I put up such a front on the outside. People can see through that. And if they don't, they really don't know what's going on. And if they don't know what's going on, then I don't really have a true community. I'm not actually receiving the support that I need. And I want my story to be an overcoming story. I had a lot of really great people, a lot of great practices and communities that I'm part of. And with all of that help, I did this. I didn't do this alone. And you don't have to either. So that's a little bit about me and my story and what I do claim to do. Yes, I'm a brain health trainer and a mental health coach and a life coach. And I'm also not a therapist, a doctor, a psychiatrist, or a neuroscientist. I don't have any of those accolades and I don't claim to have all of the answers. I only want to give you what's worked for me, what's working for my clients, and how I plan to impact the world in a positive way by utilizing my journey and my testimony. So, this is educational purposes. You take what you like and leave the rest. You consult the people in your life that are going to move you forward. And I hope I'm one of them.
Chew on this. These are the pros that I really, really look up to. I've read a lot of books by these guys and I draw from them a lot. So when I design nutrition strategies for clients, I'm drawing from well educated, science based practitioners who know the truth of how our food is treated and also what food does to our gut and our brain and our body. It's research backed, well thought out, and individualized programs are the way I roll when I coach people one on one. For this basic program, I'm going to draw as much as I can from these professionals and give you some simple steps that you can take. So, Sarah Gottfried is an MD. She's Harvard trained, and sure, she's great, but it was her own experience with mental and physical health that really opened her eyes to our more holistic approach. And she's helped so many women with their hormones and brain health and immune systems through her own healing journey and applied her expertise to that. So she's read, I read Women, Food, and Hormones, great book, and also The Brain Body Diet. So I drew from some of that for this particular course. Dr. Drew Ramsey, what I love about this guy is he's actually raised on a farm. So he knows firsthand how nutritious food affects our bodies and our brains. He's also a psychiatrist and a psychotherapist, and he founded the Brain Food Clinic. He and Samantha Elcreef created the first nutritional psychiatry training. Nutritional psychiatry. The world is catching on. And this blows my mind because I was prescribed medication and not one doctor had ever, psychiatrist, whatever, MD, family doctor, internal medicine, no one ever asked me about my nutrition. And that's why I love Dr. Ramsey because he understands if 90% of your serotonin is found in your gut, why are we not talking about food? Why are we not using food as medicine? And we hear that catchphrase all the time, but like, where's the legitimacy there? Drew Ramsey's got it. And also Dr. Uma Naidu. So she inspires me with her expertise in nutritional psychiatry too. So she got her doctorate at Harvard as well, but she's a professional chef and a nutrition specialist. So I'm like, yes, can we please look at psychiatry and psychology and combine it with food? And she wrote a book called This Is Your Brain on Food, which I draw from a lot. And she actually has looked at the science of how food affects our mood. Again, a whole body approach is the way to heal your brain. What I like about her too is she actually created the anxiety plate. And her research showed in 1 to 3 weeks, you can decrease your anxiety simply by half of your plate being vegetables, mostly cruciferous vegetables, dark leafy greens, things like that. And we'll go over more of the specifics on what's healthy for your brain in this module. But these are the folks I'm learning from. There are other books I read too, but let's keep it simple for today. Imagine what it would be like to have an army of tiny troopers and robots taking every nutrient you need right to your gut and brain and protect your brain from bad guys. This is exactly what happens when you manage your input, what you're digesting. What we digest isn't just a calorie or a video, it's building material, instructions, and a whole team of chemical co ops there to create and build every cell in your brain and body. So, if that's the case, you'd want the best foundation, want the best building materials, and you'd want a good guard for your fortress, right? So, let's talk about honoring this temple of yours. Why do most creative professionals struggle to manage their nutritional and their media intake? Yes, I'm going to go there. They're overwhelmed by fad diets or they hate what they're eating. And there's a bunch of common complaints about fad diets. Mainly, they don't work long term. And many folks that are like, I'm going to try this diet, they either didn't achieve the weight loss or it was temporary, or the brain function and the habits come right back as soon as the diet is stopped. Some even report gaining more weight than they initially lost or having worse brain function than they initially lost. I see this a lot actually with keto, unfortunately. Sorry, keto lovers. And also, if you hate what you're eating, how long are you going to do it? And if you stop, then your belief drops and then your motivation suffers. It's a vicious situation. This picture cracks me up. Fear of giving up carbs and favorite foods forever. So people just don't even start. They think they're going to have to give up all the things that they love. And it's almost like you're sacrificing yourself. That's why I chose this picture. And so choosing fad diets and feeling like you're giving things up, it disrupts your personal and social habits. And that's hard to stick to. Many people miss certain foods or find it challenging to socialize when their dietary restrictions like differ from other people. And isn't it funny? Like as soon as you decide to make a nutritional change, it's somebody's birthday in the office and then in come the cupcakes. It's ridiculous. And a lot of times these fad diets, they can be unpleasant, right? It's trying to follow a very strict food regimen is really, really hard. And then it leads to behaviors that compensate for those things. So it can actually cause people to overindulge after periods of restriction. So if you're giving up the carbs, that's all you think about, right? I can't have it, can't have it, can't have it. That's all you want. And so I actually think that it shifts the focus to that's the only thing that I want. Third, there is an overwhelming amount of information out there from gurus on every single podcast, blog, article, TikTok, Instagram, like all of the things. And that can be really confusing. I feel like they will oversimplify weight loss or mental health solutions and make people think that they're missing some magic hormone that will solve all their problems, or that losing weight is simply about eating less and exercising more, which is very defeating if you do have hormone imbalances and allergies. Like it's a vicious cycle. And as a trainer and a nutritionist, and a brain coach, these are my complaints. When you have a lot of information and you start on these extreme diets and these extreme exercise programs, you can get injured. And not only just injured physically, it can injure your brain, it can injure your metabolism. And now you're working twice as hard to get your metabolism back to where it was before you even started the diet in the first place. And they create a crushing sense of defeat. When most dieters, if it's a fad diet or something that's really extreme, when they fall off the wagon, they experience that feeling of failure and discouragement. I've been there. And unfortunately, a lot of times the overwhelm of information that you see out there, they're focusing on just weight. They're focusing on short term. They're not thinking about long-term health benefits. It's always rapid weight loss or this quick fix pill. And I know that's what everybody wants. I know that you want the GLP-1. I get it. There's a lot of research on that. I'm not going into it on this course. Ask me later. But I really love focusing on long-term health benefits because that's where you create discipline, self-love. Best form of it is self-discipline. I love my future self enough to make this choice right now for long-term benefits, such as reducing the risk of diabetes or heart disease or mental health issues. And you can actually prevent Alzheimer's and Parkinson's things with your diet. They're showing that it's a metabolic issue. So, unfortunately, a lot of the information out there is not based on scientific evidence. And then also, the things that are based on scientific evidence, they're backed by companies that are getting paid to show you their solution. They're showing you the problem and selling you the cure. Follow the money, people. If you're looking at scientific research, who funded that research? Check that out. So I want to make sure that when I'm talking about uh, diets that I think are good and what I've found works for myself and works for my clients, it comes not only from science, but also from education and also experience and evaluated experience. So that's what I got for you. As far as those common struggles, it's overwhelm, it's frustration, and it's a lot. You can break the cycle. I promise. You can go from overwhelmed and burnout, frustrated, to more focus, more clarity, better brain function, and probably a better feeling body. I want you to have more energy. You can skyrocket your confidence through your nutrition and managing your media intake management. Why did I put those together? Because what you digest will progress. I like these little quotes because sometimes they stick. I've been there where I make the big decision. I even post about it. I tell all my friends, then I fall off and I feel ashamed for it, only to pick up the motivation again when I see some inspiring video and I try a different approach. And most of us know what to do, but we haven't gotten it down to a system. I didn't set myself up for success by making grand gestures and drastic vows and big promises. I'm here to share with you what's worked for me, what's worked for my clients. Of course, I'll back it up with science. And I gotta tell you, it starts much, much smaller. This is it. This is what I'll break down in 3 simple steps to manage what you're digesting, which means managing what your brain chemicals are doing and how your gut is affected too. Number 1, giving up processed food. I know. 2nd, creating a meal plan. And 3, decreasing your social media input. All of those can significantly benefit your mental health in a bunch of ways. So if you just give up processed food, you reduce your risk of depression and anxiety. They are people that consume fewer ultra processed foods, they're less likely to struggle with serious mental health issues. It'll improve your mood stability. It can reduce your mood swings, which is great. You can enhance your cognitive functions. So reducing those processed foods, it prevents cognitive decline and it improves your focus. You can decrease your inflammation. We all want that. And there are a lot of folks that are like, anxiety and depression, that's inflammation in your brain, chronic inflammation in your brain, things to think about. So that is linked to mental health disorders. So choosing an anti-inflammatory diet rich in those whole foods will offer protective effects for mental well-being, things like that. Creating a meal plan, it's going to reduce your stress. You already know what you're going to have. It's going to alleviate the stress of deciding on things and promoting those healthy eating habits. That well-structured meal plan, it encourages the consumption of nutrient-rich foods on a more regular basis. There's that word again, more regular food to support your mental health. It's also, when you start eating those regular foods, it's going to increase your confidence. It's going to increase your empowerment. When you successfully prepare a meal and you consume that meal and only that meal and nothing else, now you know you can do a thing. And you can apply that mindset to every other goal you have outside of your nutrition. And I want to empower you. Also, I want to encourage mindful eating. So when you're mindful and you're more conscious about your food, it starts when you take your first food journal inventory. And then as you're eating food, you actually improve your nutritional intake. You actually consume more nutritional benefits. It's a really cool study that I saw. And so you're getting and making sure that it's balanced. You're going to get essential nutrients to support your brain health, like omega-3 fatty acids and whole grains and lean proteins. And the last one, decreasing your social media input. I know. And there's not a whole bunch of research that specifically addresses social media, that it's all bad. I'm going to tell you about both. I'm going to tell you why social media is great, and I'm also going to tell you why it can why it can help you. If you decrease that input of social media, you're going to stop comparing yourself as much. You're going to have less of a negative self-perception, because I know every time I look at all these other trainers, they're fitter than me, their butt is better, my abs don't look like that. Why do we do that to ourselves? I'm not going to like sabotage myself anymore. And so, not only that, but I'm going to save myself a lot of time from social media that I've just wasted. So, I can actually redirect that time toward meal planning and cooking and exercising and meditating. So, that's a good thing. And then also in another module called Sleeping Beauty, we talk about sleep. Less time on screens, especially before bed, will actually increase the quality of your sleep and the quantity of your sleep, which is crucial for mental health as well. So, combining all three of these approaches, giving up the processed food, finding a meal plan, and managing your media menu, you're really going to create a powerful strategy for supporting your mental well being through lifestyle changes. You've got this. I believe in you.